Hey y'all, welcome into Lemons to Lemonade. My name is Kara and we are a furniture flipping family located deep in the heart of Texas. I am organizing our homeschool room today as we gear up for our upcoming school year. And I thought, what a great time to film my intro video, considering today we're flipping an old vintage desk and upgrading it into the latest trendy style. We will use chalk paint to give this desk a whole new look. So come along with us to the garage and we'll show you how it's done.
Here's our starting point. We have a vintage kidney-shaped secretary's desk. It's not quite antique. It has to be at least 100 years old to be an antique. And this one dates back to the 1930s. So she's not quite there yet, but still fantastically vintage. This is a custom order flip this week that we are making over for a client who has a super fun vision for this desk. So first things first, we're going to start by removing all the hardware. All of our pieces get a very thorough clean with Crud Cutter. I like to use Crud Cutter mixed up to the package directions and some warm water. Go over the piece really well, inside, outside, all the drawers underneath. Get off all the dirt, grease, and grime. Vacuum out the insides. This just ensures that the piece is delivered looking fresh and as brand new as we can possibly get it when we take it to the client's home. We're going to sand down the top entirely. I'm starting with an 80 grit sandpaper on my orbital sander. This is completely wood. There is no veneer top on this. This is a complete wood top. So I don't have to worry about burning through the top. So I can start with an 80 grit, move up to a 120, and then a 220 for a soft finish. Around most of the edges on this, there had been some just use and abuse from age, vacuum cleaners, people's feet being underneath it, etc. So we used our Surf Prep sander with the squishy foam abrasive pad on there. It's about 120 grit and went around all the edges to get off all these vacuum cleaner marks. Now that we've sanded through all the imperfections, we're going to go ahead and give everything a nice scuff sand with the 220 grit sandpaper to make sure that the chalk paint will adhere nicely. There was quite a bit of sanding done to this piece, so we're going to go over it with a damp cloth just to make sure everything is clean. The top is going to have a beautiful wood stain applied to it, so we need to make sure that it is taped off and covered before we start painting the body of the desk. This piece is mahogany, so we are going to need to prime it. I have been using this shellac primer from Sherwin-Williams. It comes in a spray paint option and also in a roll-on type paint as well. It works really well to help stop any bleed through, which is always a possibility when you're painting mahogany furniture. The first coat of paint that we're doing is going to be a light gray, so you don't want that mahogany to come back up and surprise you later. So everything has to be covered with this shellac primer first. The first step to our design on this desk calls for an all-over coat of classic French gray. We use the Krylon chalk paint from Sherwin-Williams. I love this chalk paint. It works wonderful in our HVLP gravity-fed sprayer. I load it into the sprayer and add just a little bit of water, and it just comes out of the sprayer so well. And I love all the paint color options that we have through Sherwin-Williams. I just adore their chalk paint, so we use it all the time. So this first coat is going to be all gray and light French gray, and then you'll see what design steps we take next with this. Our client has requested a striped pattern on this desk, so we have started off with a 2-inch roll of painter's tape, and our original idea is to line up the stripes straight up and down, and then line a piece of tape next to it straight up and down, and then another one, and then rip off the middle strips of tape. Does that make sense? Leaving a stripe pattern. Well, we thought it was going to be a lot easier than it turned out to be, which you'll see in a little bit. Chris is going to give you updates as he goes. He's a real perfectionist when it comes to this sort of stuff, so I put him in charge of making the stripes. His nickname at home is Ethan Allen because everything has to be perfect when it comes to the furniture. I kind of tend to be a little more artsy and flamboyant on things, and he is quite the perfectionist. So when we get orders like this for something that has to be totally perfect, yeah, Chris is in charge.
Hey guys, just wanted to stop for 1 second from taping the stripes off just to give you a little update and to let you know and be real with you. This is not easy. As it turned out, I thought it would be easier than it really is. We thought we could just tape 3 different lines, rip one off, and then have the perfect spacing and just keep going down and down and down. But as it turns out, because the whole entire piece is rounded, it doesn't work that way. So I've had to turn and do a different route and actually bust out the laser just to be able to get straight lines as we go along. So I just want to give you an update. I wanted to show you real quick what it looks like. So I brought it inside since it's so hot out there. I figured, hey, why not work smarter instead of harder? So there are the stripes so far. I mean, it looks like it's pretty level and pretty straight. Or evenly spaced, but as we turn the corner here, hopefully this side right here is going to be a lot easier since there's just that one little trim piece, but we shall see. So I'll give you an update as we go along. Just wanted to say, man, wish me luck. Thanks.
As you can see, it looks pretty good to me. I think you did a great job. Now we're going to go ahead and make the black stripe. We're using caviar chalk paint from Sherwin-Williams again. Loaded up our hopper, and yeah, fingers crossed. Here we go. So the 2-inch tape on the gray stripe is still covering the gray paint. And then we are going to go ahead and paint the now open space with the black and hope for some really cool stripe pattern at the end of this. Wow. I mean, that is so cool. Next up is the hardware. We kept the original hardware to the piece. We used Rust-Oleum flat gold spray paint. Originally I wasn't in love with the hardware, but it's true to the item and it's vintage, so it's pretty cool. So we wanted to go ahead and keep those. I like to always give old drawers a little scuff sand just to get off any marks or pen stains or anything that could be in there. And then I like to go over them with a feed and wax product. It is a liquid wax that smells like beeswax, so it has a nice smell to it, and then it just really helps bring old drawers back to life and make them look brand new. You can see that beautiful wood grain coming out as I wipe this product on. Now it's time to stain the top. We're going to use Ebony Wood Stain by Urethane and put this on with a lint-free cloth. The idea for the top was to see that beautiful wood grain through the top of it, even though it has a darker stain on top. If I would have used chalk paint, you wouldn't have seen any of this wood grain, and we knew with the age of this desk and the fact that it was a full wood piece slab that was put on the top of this, that you're going to have some beautiful shading and striping if we could go ahead and stain this instead of painting the top of it, and just sort of keep that original wood feel on the top instead of just painting the whole item. Our go-to for protection now is Helmsman Spar Urethane. It comes in a flat finish and it goes really well through our gravity-fed HVLP sprayer. So we've got that loaded up into the gun, and since this is a desk, it's going to get 3 coats of Spar polyurethane on the top and then 3 coats all along the bottom and the drawers. Now it's time to reattach the hardware. We are so close to the final reveal.
Okay, I know you're ready for the big reveal, but I wanted to let you know in the next few videos, we'll be showing you all how we stage our pieces to sell them on Facebook Marketplace. I'm fortunate enough to have 2 separate staging areas. You'll see the one that's inside my house on this video, so be sure to stay to the end if you'd like to see how we stage to sell. This was a custom order this week, so I won't be reviewing numbers in this video, but if you have questions on how to price custom orders, I have a separate video that we've already made, and I will link that video below in the description box. Last week, we started the Buy Me a Coffee app, which is just a really fun way to support your favorite YouTube creators. Each time you buy us a cup of coffee following the link below, we will give a special shout out at the end of each month on our YouTube video. Since this is the last video before August, I'd like to send a big shout out to Denise Decker for buying us our very first cup of coffee. Thank you so much for your support, Denise. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. It certainly keeps me going to make these videos each week and show you our fun weekly flips. I won't hold you back any longer, as I am as excited as you are to see how this vintage desk turned out. And we'll see you next week on Lemons to Lemonade. Bye!